Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Boyd and I'm here to bring you the second game of the week game. The first one was between Eversaw and Weasel, and it was a really tightly contested game with lots of comebacks, a great flaming weapons usage, and we'll jump straight into this next game right now. Spawning in the right side of the map in the blue colour, playing Poseidon is EX Berserker. His opponent spawning in the red colour, playing Loki. His name is Adafang from the clan Arf. A little bit of background on these two players. Arf Adafang, he's a French player. He's been playing for an extremely long time, achieved expert status sometime pretty early in AOM's lifespan relatively to what now is, so probably 2006, 2005, correct me if I'm wrong. His opponent, Berserker, very top level player, probably just that 15 or that 50 real rate below an expert, which is not that much considering. So this game can go any which way depending on how both players play it out. So we'll see exactly what's going to go on. In standard play, what you normally see is the Loki player doing some sort of Herser based build, getting Hall of Thanes and raiding around and everything like that, whereas the Poseidon player tries to gear for some sort of heroic boom and attempt to get to the late game through using Ceasefire to block flaming weapons, Earthquake or Plentyvault to bolster his economy, or just to completely demoralize his opponent. All of that good stuff. Basically, they're trying to either gold starve at some point or out macro their opponent. What we see from Berserker looks to me like he wants to go to the classical age around about 4:30 to 5 minutes and play probably 2 stables, 1 Toxotos range, and try and put some early pressure onto his opponent, whereas Adafang sort of, it looks like he's going up a little bit later, probably going to be hitting at 5 minutes ish. Going to be fine with that because he's probably going to be raiding a little bit. Build order wise, very standard stuff for Adafang. 7 villages on food, 5 on wood, and probably going to be aiming for 5 on gold and then advancing. Again, Berserker going to be advancing as well, probably at the same time actually. Looks like he's probably got no economic upgrades apart from hunting dogs. Probably going to want to get pickaxe as well as hand axe while he's advancing. However, his food preparation wasn't the best there, so he's not going to have that food for hand axe for a little while. Looks like Adafang going through Forseti and Berserker going through Hermes. So very standard stuff. Hermes granting you Ceasefire, while Forseti granting you the Healing Spring and a bunch of technologies to go with that. The Centaur and the Troll being the myth units you can get through those gods. Also, Adafang going for that early Anvil of Hephaestus relic. Relics spawn randomly, their features are random. Looks like the Kithra of Apollo over here, that's faster villager movement speed, and the Armory relic obviously cheaper armory, so that's going to come in handy in the later stages of the game. But it looks like Berserker, it looks like Adafang didn't scout out in this location, so he's not going to know about that, so Berserker might be able to sneak that relic at some point. However, he needs to defend this location first. Adafang going to be attempting to gather some favor from this skirmish. He wants to get that 10 favor as soon as possible, which he does have at 300 wood, and then dump it into Hall of Thanes so he can start running around the map, raiding left, right, and center. Basically, that's what he wants to do. Look at this: 10 villages onto 10 dwarves onto gold, and then he's going to just start pumping villages and dwarves onto the herdables in order to hit a heroic timing. Probably, hopefully, around 10 minutes. As a standard, but obviously if the game goes a little bit haywire in the classical age, you need to max out. You're going to be hitting the heroic age a little bit later. Berserker, on the other hand, 58 out of 75 supply, so his supply is going quite well. He's going to be able to raid a little bit, however there's a nice wall allowing Adafang to really retreat here. He's really thought about that wall placement a little bit. It's not exactly it's not a bad wall placement. It's going to let most of his villagers survive there, only losing one to that raid. Probably could have bought off this location if he really cared that much, but instead he decided here. Adafang now getting that extra ball. However, Adafang feels like he can put some pressure on now with his raiding cavalry and Hussar based army. What he really needs to do, however, is to really surround the Poseidon army so that his army can deal as much surface area damage as possible. Looks like this goal line is a little bit open at the moment. Adafang doesn't have the units to really deal damage to it, and Berserkers advanced the watchtowers to really have that defensive positioning. He's also got this goldman back here if he really wants to use it, so there's no problems at all for him for gold at this current point in the game. Looks like Berserker's gearing up to go to the heroic age, whereas Adafang also gearing up to go to the heroic age. He has his armory up, and it's going to be probably just after this dwarf. He's going to be hitting the heroic age in about 10 minutes and 30 seconds, which is pretty standard. I don't actually understand what the point of these raiding cavalry being in the corner is. However, he thought that they were safe there, I suppose. So he's going to be attempting to run in here and raid this location again. However, it looks like Berserker has it covered. It'll be interesting to see how Berserker uses his heroic age, early heroic age. Is he going to be trying to hit a timing attack, or is he just going to grab those early 2 town centers as soon as possible? He only has 2 stables, so I can't see him hitting a timing attack because he just doesn't have the unit production to really do it. He doesn't have any armory upgrades either to indicate that, so I'm going to suggest that he's probably going to grab a town center. I don't think he'll be able to grab this town center because of the amount of units he has. However, he does have curse, so that's going to nullify most of those raiding cavalry until Adafang decides that median cavalry is something worthwhile investing in, and then curse will basically do nothing. Probably kill about 4 of the raiding cavalry. This town center does go up, however, and Adafang throws down a hill fort. Looks like he's going to try and sneak this town center as well. It's a little bit of a dodgy play. If Berserker notes that before it goes up, he can come around here, surround these Hussar and Ulfsark, and then kill them all off. But it looks like it's going to pay off. He's going to be able to get this town center up, going to be able to get that villager production out of it and that extra population. Berserker's reaction to this is probably going to be an attempt to grab this town center using ceasefire. However, a really smart move by Adafang will be able to use flame weapons at a really good time, and then also be building the town center in order to grab that, if he can manage to do that. Because Berserker doesn't, he wants to play greedy as possible because he knows that he's a little bit behind because he's lost his position. He needs to grab this town center and force a ceasefire. Looks like Adafang's dwarves are going to see this these massive hippocons right here, but Berserker does see that too. The dwarves just going to run back, scoot back, and the villagers of Berserker are going to be grabbing that town center and seeing what he can manage with that. I'm a little bit surprised to see no archery ranges out of Berserker at the moment. He probably should have built them, but obviously decided that they weren't worthwhile. A curse going down at the moment, that's going to be able to pick off a bunch of those raiding cavalry. As I said, there's no medium upgrades either, so that's going to be fine for him. And all of these units idle at the moment, it's going to be the problem. Adafang pushing back the army of Berserker. However, the Hypaspists coming in now, going to be able to scare Adafang off, especially because he only has a few of those raiding cavalry left. But the battle board does join the army now, and that's going to be a large tank, going to be able to throw those Hypaspists away in order for his Ulfsarks to deal as much damage as possible. But looks like the raid doesn't do that much, the bouncy special attack doesn't do that much, and Berserker's going to continue to try and hold here. It looks like he's at a little bit of an advantage at the moment, sitting at 118 supply, where his opponent's only sitting at 118 supply. But at this point in the game, that means that the Greek army is a little bit more powerful than that Norse army, especially with the low upgrades of Adafang. And we'll see if Berserker manages to grab this town center. If he can throw it up, and then he probably should have got a little bit more villagers. And look at this gold mine snuck by Adafang. If we look at the fog of war, no idea. He has no idea this gold mine's getting gathered. So sneaky. And look at that. Adafang able to use flaming weapons in combination with grabbing that town center in order to get that up. Basically, Berserker's going to be able to do nothing in order to stop that, and he's going to be at a 4-2-2 town center deficit. That basically means that Adafang is going to have 160 population, possibly 180 population with the fortified town centers, to Berserker's only 140 population with fortified town centers. So that's a massive amount of population that will be behind. However, there are a lot of buildings here, and Berserker's going to be gearing up to go to the Mythic Age, earthquaking this location, and then pushing in. Hopefully that's what he's thinking about doing, because that's the correct decision, I believe. Definitely he's going through Artemis. There we go. Adafang, on the other hand, doesn't quite have the resources to go Mythic, so he's going to be a little bit behind on tech, but again, the population might just be enough, and we'll see if he can manage to push through here with Earthquake. Berserker's going to need to think about getting a bunch of armory upgrades as well, because he doesn't have the population to deal with Adafang's 160 army. So hopefully armory upgrades go down, and then he'll be able to push through. Adafang, on the other hand, already started his armory upgrades, it looks like, grabbing Pierce Armor as well, because he's seen all of those Toxotes getting pumped out at the moment, and he has a very infantry-based army. Doesn't want those Toxotes to be picking off his army that easily. And this gold mine, just casually mining next to that archery range, going to be doing a little sneaky behavior, really. I don't think Berserker's thinking about this fight much. He's not thinking about it the best. He needs to wait for that earthquake, and then go. Probably even not a bad idea to delete that archery range, so he can get the most surface area of the fight. He definitely wants to wait until that tremor's gone and then push in. Again, he doesn't have any armory upgrades, so this fight is not going to be favoring him at all, especially because of all those throwing axemen completely tearing to pieces his high pass mists. But the Toxotes are doing a bunch of damage, and they're firing at the wrong thing, so he's going to have to retreat there. Adafang is going to be able to rebuild this town center and rebuild that population advantage that he had. And we'll see if Berserker is going to do enough in order to really come back into this game. But looks like at a little bit of a lost position from the moment. He doesn't have the best economic upgrades at the moment. He doesn't have much gold income either, and he does have the resources in order to upgrade that shaft mine. He also doesn't have a trade route going of any sorts, and he's only got this one gold mine left, sitting at 5,500 gold. So he's definitely going to be wanting a little bit more gold income. So shaft mine, and also a market, pumping out a bunch of those caravans. But he really doesn't have the supply to do that at the moment. So really, he wants to get into this hill fort. No, it's a fortress. It's definitely a fortress. Getting out some of those Heliopoli and pushing into this location, because nothing else is going to be able to push through this army of Adafangs, especially because the armory upgrades just so lacking for Berserker. I mean, his micro is really good, but at this stage of the game, micro can only get you so far. Armory upgrades are what are going to win you the game, or at least do enough damage to win you the game. Well, whatever. Again, these Toxotes focus firing down the wrong unit, attacking the Battle Boar instead of the Throwing Axeman. If he attacked the Throwing Axeman, then he's going to be doing a lot more damage there. Adafang going through tier, going to be able to cast Winter and do significant amounts of damage to the economy of Berserker, who's already suffering at the 140 supply cap. So Berserker probably going to have to fall back here. Does not have the economy to reproduce. He does have a little bit of bank though, so maybe he does have the economy to produce through here, but armory upgrades are what's the talk here. He's got his archaic upgrade, so that's good. That's why he's able to win this fight here, or at least a little bit of win this fight. Adafang retreating now, going to remax hopefully. He's probably sitting at 140 or 150 of 180, 140 of 180. Really needs to remax, and then probably try and surround this army. He wants to half rating cavalry